The next psychodrama intervention I want to highlight is psychodramatic sculpting. So psychodramatic sculpting is where we would have the protagonist choose other group members and physically place them in the scene, or symbolically place them in the physical space to represent their relationships to parts of themselves, to members of their family, or to recreate a static moment from their past. For example, we could ask a protagonist to sculpt their family of origin. Choose people here to play the roles of each person in your family of origin. Choose someone to play the role of yourself as well. Come place yourself in the middle of the stage here. And now symbolically place the other auxiliaries in relationship to yourself on the stage based on how far or close you felt to them. And give them all a body posture to symbolize your relationship to them or their relationship to you. And this can be really powerful exercise to use. We can also use it for parts of self. Once you did name 4 different parts of yourself that feel really meaningful, and choose other people to play those roles, and position those different parts of yourself in relationship to you. We could also take a moment from the past, perhaps a moment that was really transformative and meaningful, or a moment that was really confusing, or a moment that was really painful or traumatic. And we can use psychodramatic sculpting to revisit that moment in a safe and slow and gradual way. So you could have the protagonist describe that moment from their experience in the past, choose other group members to play the different role play, the different characters in that scene, the different people that were involved, and to physically recreate that moment in time, that frozen moment. And then you could use different interventions like doubling, role reversal, concretization, soliloquy to deepen the experience of that moment, to express unexpressed feelings from that moment, to help the protagonist get unstuck from that moment and how it impacted them, and to develop a new perspective, new integration, to heal and move on and grow from that experience in the past. Now, psychodramatic sculpting is fundamentally different from psychodrama in that the protagonist is usually choosing someone to play the role of themselves in psychodramatic sculpting, and the protagonist is often outside of the scene in the mirror position for the majority of the process in psychodramatic sculpting. Whereas in psychodrama scenes, the protagonist is in the role of themselves throughout much of the scene and does not spend a lot of time in the mirror position. So this is one of the fundamental differences between psychodramatic sculpting and psychodrama. Sculpting is also much slower, much more gradual, and because of that, it's much safer. In a psychodrama scene, the roles might be moving around and be very spontaneous, and it's very dramatic and chaotic at times. Whereas in psychodramatic sculpting, the roles are much more static, there's less movement, there's more control and containment in the process, and oftentimes there's much less talking. It's more kind of physical and embodied than a psychodrama. So because of this, psychodramatic sculpting can be a really good warm-up to a psychodrama. It can be a good way of warming up a group that's new to psychodrama. And it can be a really good stepping stone for somebody who's new to facilitating psychodramas before they start facilitating fuller and more intense and dramatic psychodramatic scenes. Starting with psychodramatic sculpting is a good idea. So sculpting is something that can be used to help trauma survivors heal from trauma, and also can be used as a trauma-informed intervention.